Hey guys, AscendantGod here today with a tutorial on the campaign mode in Raid Shadow Legends. So I'm going to be going over the basics in this. So if you already know the basics, I would say this video is probably not for you. If you are not familiar with the basics, you definitely want to watch this video. It's going to give you some insight into not only the campaign, but some other mechanics of the game. So to start out here, I'm going to look at the very basics. The first thing, you have 3 different difficulty levels: normal, hard, and brutal. You need to get through each one in particular until you can go up to the next one, which means you need to clear it all the way through the final chapter. Each one has the same chapters. You have 12 chapters, chapter 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth, all the way up until chapter 12 here, which ends with Brimstone Path. So say if I was on normal here, in order to be able to get to the next level, I would have to clear stage 7 of it. And then once I do, then I would be able to move on to the next higher level. One of the things that you'll see here on this map is underneath each champion, and these are basically the bosses that you're going to be fighting, champion bosses. Now, you'll see a symbol, and what the symbol means is that is the type of equipment that you're going to find in that particular campaign. So say, for example, with this one with the green heart means life gear. Okay, notice on each different level, it's going to drop a different star rating. The higher the star rating, the better. The more basically, the higher the stats are going to go as you level up your gear. Okay, so if you're not sure how to level up your gear, go ahead and take a look at the tutorial on that, and you can see how all of that works. But basically, the higher the star rating, the better. Second most important thing is the rarity on it, but we'll cover that in another tutorial. For now, we're just going to focus on the campaign. So again, with this campaign in particular, it's going to be dropping life gear. You notice in each different one of these, it has the different types of gear. So we got the sword, so helmet for each one of our types of equipment that goes on the champions. And of course, at the end, each one has a stage 7 where it's going to be the boss. So this one here has this boss in particular that you're going to be fighting along with some other allies of his. Okay, and every single campaign has the boss at the end like that. So in addition to these gear that you can have drop in each one, there's also other miscellaneous drops like it has here. So you can end up getting shards, so you can open it up and get different random champions from that. With the greens, it's anywhere from a common all the way up to a rare. You're going to get coins along with the gear. And then, of course, you can get champion drops as well here. So you have some common ones here, which are the 1 stars, and then some uncommons, which is 2, and then rares that are 3. Of course, the higher the difficulty level, the better your chances are of getting the more powerful champions. You also get more of the green shards each time as well in the higher difficulty levels. But typically I play through brutal. Eventually you want to get to the point where you're going to be playing through all these in brutal, and eventually you're not going to need them for really anything other than farming. Okay, and now as far as the majority of what you're going to do is for these, once you get towards the end game, it's for farming and selling gear. Farming to level up champions to use as food to level up other champions, and then selling off the gear that you get in here to be able to make additional coins to level up your artifacts and champions and things like that. The most costly thing in the game to level up is the gear itself, the artifacts. But anyway, so each one of these is going to have 3 rounds in it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and head onto one of them in just a bit here. So you have 3 rounds, and you have different affinities. I'm going to go to Brimstone Paths just because that's the one that I typically farm. Okay, so the affinities here shows you what type of enemies you're going to typically be up against in this instance. So with this one here, you got, let me show you, head into this. Okay, so you got the different affinities right here. Okay, and that shows you which strengths and weaknesses each one have. Okay, so I mean, it's basically force, magic, spirit, but I'm just going to call them green and red and blue to keep it simple for you. So with the green ones here, you see there's 3 different greens, and then we got 1 red. Okay, And what that means is that these champions are strong against these champions, which is why it has an arrow going that direction. These champions are strong against these ones, and then the blues here are strong against the greens. Then we get back to square one. So whichever direction the arrow is pointing, that means that the champion is strong against those kinds. If you want a little bit more insight into that, that would be something called affinities. So again, you'd want to look for a video here on the tutorial on affinities, and we'll get into details as far as that. But for now, all that we're going to cover is just basically the campaign itself. We're going to stay focused on that. So just know that if these are a lot of green right now, what you don't want is a lot of reds as far as your champions, because they're going to be weak against them. All right, I only have one here, and this is something that I'm just leveling up, so I'm not really worried about that. Your main champion that you're farming with is the one that's going to be the most important. I have what's called a void champion. They're right in the center. They are actually not weak against any of the affinities. They're not strong against any of the affinities. They're just neutral. Okay, no strength, no weakness. All right, now each one of these, like I said, you're going to have 3 rounds. And what you're going to do is another important thing here. Okay, your leader is the one that will have an aura. Okay, now their aura skill right here is the attack, because theirs is on the left-hand side. For you, it's on your right-hand side. So with this one, this little weapon symbol here means it's an attack. So it increases ally attack in all these dungeons by 21%. So basically makes all of them stronger and hit harder. Now, with me, regretfully, with the champion I farm with somebody here called Painkeeper. She doesn't have an affinity, which is nice. She's void affinity, so it's not weak against anything, but she also doesn't have an aura, regretfully. So as far as that, there isn't anything in particular that she provides these champions. Now, say if I was going to farm with a different champion, say if I have a sword here, I add him in. Now you see the aura skill changes up here. Now it's saying aura skill increases ally attack in all battles by 21%, so it's going to give me an attack bonus. But again, I'm going to be farming with the void, so we're not worried about that right now. And I'm going to go ahead and give you a sample run here. So right now, I'm leveling up these. This champion is somebody who I'm still leveling up. He's a champion who's a keeper. He's a really good one, actually. Tyrell. I just got him the other day, so I've been leveling him up. This one here I'm using for food because she's not anything that spectacular, at least not for this account. This guy here is food, so neither one of them has gear on them. Doesn't make sense to put gear on what you use as food in here because of the fact that it costs money to take the gear off of those champions. So ideally, you want a champion that's strong enough to where you can get through these enemies with that one champion without having to put gear on the other ones. But again, right now I'm leveling up Tyrell as well, so he does have some gear on him because he's a keeper, but otherwise this would be the only champion with gear on them, and then you would level up the rest for food, and that's eventually what you want to get up to. So I'm going to go ahead and click start here. It even warns you that you don't have an aura skill. I'm not worried about the aura because nobody has an aura right now, so that isn't an option. And so we're going to go ahead and start this up and just going to show you a sample run. Now, typically once you get to the point where you can farm this, it's real simple. All that you do is you just run right through it with the auto on ×2, so it's going to go through it as quickly as possible. All right, so it's going to do an auto attack, another auto attack. She's pretty strong, so she clears these people out pretty quickly. The gear on her I'll show you in just a bit. The gear is really useful on her right now, where she is not only a healer and tops herself off from healing, but her gear also heals her as well. You see that little green aura that just popped up on her right there? That's her actually healing herself at the start of every turn because of the gear she has on. So she heals herself, her gear heals her, and it pretty much keeps her alive throughout the whole encounter. Now, he's staying alive too, because normally your food is of course going to die really, really quickly because they don't have gear on them, and gear is a big part of what powers up your champions. Him right now, he's been alive too because of the fact that he does have gear on him, because like I said, I'm using him as a champion for what's called the clan boss. You know, if you're not familiar with clan boss, that's another thing that we will get into in another video, but for now we're just focused on this campaign, just showing you a demonstration of what it's like to farm this. She takes a little longer to get through this than some of the champions, but the thing that I like about her is she's surefire. I know she's going to clear it. There's no chance that she's going to die, and so it's good in that regard. Okay, now another thing that I'm going to tell you right now with the farming is you normally want a couple of different things here as far as who you farm with. Either number one, you want a healer who can keep themselves alive, which again is the case with her, or another option is that you would want a character with lifesteal gear on them. The lifesteal gear is every time the champion attacks, they actually heal themselves by 30% of the damage that they do. So that's another way to keep yourself topped off. It's a strategy that people use a lot in the game, both in arena as well as on the clan boss, to keep themselves alive without even needing a healer. Alright, so we just cleared this out. These guys are getting extra experience, so that's good. Got myself some gear and some coins. Now once you get through this here, if you don't need this gear, you can actually click on this gear right here. It'll show you what it does. 10% bonus heal. I do not need at all. It's not a particularly good set, except for maybe in some rare circumstances. I don't use it, so I'm going to sell that off. That's going to give me about an extra 5,000 coins there. You want to sell? Yes, I'm sure. So I got an extra little over 5,000 on top of this 13,000. Okay, and we went through Brimstone Path Stage 1. Normally, if you're powerful enough, you would want to go through the very last stage. Just since I'm demonstrating here, I'm not really worried about what I would normally farm. Now, as far as that, though, one thing that I do want to point out here, the best one to farm is typically going to be stage 6, not stage 7, okay, because of the fact that stage 7 usually doesn't award as much experience points as stage 6, and it's a lot tougher typically because of the fact that you're fighting a boss in those. So actually, once you get too brutal and once you get to the point where you are farming, usually the best bet is to do stage 6 here and just farm that one. It's going to give you the maximum amount of experience. Now, if you're not worried about experience, you just want coins, then your best bet would be stage 3. Don't ask why. I will get into that in another video, but for now, since we're just focused on the campaign, just keep in mind that if you want the maximum experience points, do stage 6. If you want a little bit more coins with a slight bit less of the experience, then you would do stage 3. And again, you'd just be selling off all of your gear in here. Okay, now, one thing that I'm going to show you as well, and you probably saw it while I had that campaign stage running, is these bonuses up here. Okay, now these two bonuses here you're going to see on your main screen. You're also going to see it when you go to clear out the stage as well. Now, this one here is bonus XP. Now, it's XP boost. The amount of XP your champions earn in battle is increased by 100%. Okay, that's huge. So that's something that's really, really useful to get. Okay, and as far as getting that, there's a couple of different ways you can get it. Okay, one is through the quests here. So you have the weekly quest where after 5 days of doing the dailies, you're going to get bonus XP for a full day. So see, plus 100% XP for a day. Okay, and then you're also going to get some extra experience, and once you do that and you complete all the other quests here too for the week, you actually get an ancient shard along with some extra XP as well. So anyway, so that's one way to get the extra bonus experience. Obviously, since it's a bonus of 100%, it's definitely something that you want to try to farm with at all times. Another way to get it, actually a couple of different ways, but it's both in the shop here. Okay, you have different packs that you can buy over here. Now, if you're not too keen on spending, $30, $50, $100 on the game, I mean, you can get a cheap one for, the $9.99 here. Another option is to go into your gem shop, and eventually you're going to be accumulating gems through your mine and from doing dailies and things like that. And you have two different options here. One is a plus 100% XP boost for a day. Another one is an XP boost for 3 days straight. Obviously, with the 3 days straight, you get more for your money. It's double the price, but 3 times as much what you'd get here. Okay, and so That's a good way to keep your experience up, make it so that you farm a lot quicker, level up your champions a lot quicker that way. Okay, the other thing that you get bonus from is from this one here. Now this is a little different. It's called a raid pass. You actually get it through a subscription. This one gives you plus 20% to the XP from campaign battles. It also gives you plus 20% silver. It also gives you plus 25 to the extra multi-battle attempts. And we'll go ahead and get into the multi-battles in just a little bit here, but that's something that's actually a pretty new feature at this point. So as far as this, it does require a subscription. Okay, you can get the silver raid pass or the gold raid pass. Both of them give you the same exact bonus. It's just one of them you pay per month. Another one you sign up for a full 6 months for a better rate. Okay, I have the silver raid pass, so they charge me monthly for this. It's active, as you can see, and I get all these bonuses. And this one here is an extra bonus as far as experience or coins or anything like that, but it does make it so that I can farm without having to actually pay attention to what's going on there, and so I don't have to make any effort, so that's pretty nice as well. All right, now those are the ways to get extra bonus. So ideally you'd want both of them on. At the bare minimum, I would at least say to definitely get this XP boost. Whether you want to wait and save up, people will do it a few different ways. Sometimes people will save up until they hit that 5-day mark here and get the bonus XP. They save up their energy until that day, and then they farm once they get all that bonus XP. The other option is, again, in the shop here, where, like I said, you can buy it with gems. I have a 479 gems, so obviously I have plenty more than enough at this point to be able to buy the bonus XP boost. I don't usually use it for that. Usually at this point I'm still trying to get some better champions, so I'll usually get the big shard pack with that. But, you know, it's up to you. It depends on where your priorities are at. If you feel like you have some good champions that you want to level up really quickly, you know, then this would definitely be the way to go here. If you want more champions, usually that's the way to go. But we'll cover that in another time when we go over the shop tutorial. For now, we're focused on the campaign. So just a couple more things to cover as far as this. Now, I already showed you the auto farm option for one particular, well, I should say auto battle, is what we're going to cover next here. Okay, so you already saw where you can go through a campaign on auto attack. Now what I'm going to do here is show you the other option, which is multi-battle. This is basically an auto farm for multiple attacks. Now I have 40 available here. If you don't have the extra, it's I believe 15 that you can do in a day. Yeah, it's 15. So you're either going to have 15 here, or if you sign up for that raid pass, it gives you those extra 25s, then you go up to 40. All right, and this is a really nice option where what you can do is, let's say she's the person that I'm farming with. So once you get to the point where you're able to farm with just one champion, which is ideally what you want to do, initially you might need to run with two that are geared up, like say, you know, I have both of these at 6 stars, level 60. You know, you might initially need to not even be able to handle Brimstone Path. What you might do is you might be stuck, say, on, you know, hard mode in the Deadlands. You can't get past the final stage with your best champions, but you're able to farm, say, stage 2 with, you know, 2 of your stronger champions, like say these 2 here. And then what you would do is you would farm with 2 champions that don't have any gear on them, just to level them up, to use them for food as far as leveling up other champions. And if you're not familiar with that yet and you're still starting on that, then what you would want to do is look up leveling champions and the tutorial on that, and that'll show you how to level the champions up and what I'm talking about as far as food. So if I'm getting a little ahead of you there, you know, just bear with me. All of it'll make sense once you look through the rest of the tutorials on leveling up champions. But regardless, food is champions that are expendable to you. It's champions that aren't important to you in the game. They're not ones that you're going to use as champions in the end game stuff like arena or farming the campaign or clan boss or anything like that, or even your dungeons. You're just going to be leveling them up just to feed to other champions. So with that said, another thing you want to keep in mind too when you are farming the campaigns is each one of the stages have different affinities on them. Okay, so notice this one here, stage 3, has 4 of the greens. We head up to 5 here. Now it only has 2 greens, but it also has 2 blues. So sometimes what you'll be farming, depending on how far along you've progressed, might actually depend on these affinities here, because say you might be better off farming this stage, the more difficult one, than you would be, say, this one up here. Say if, just to, again, show you the affinities. Okay, now let's say you have a lot of red champions that you're farming with, or your let's say your main 2 champions you're farming with are 2 reds, like this champion here and say this one right here. Okay, so if you're farming with 2 red, obviously green may not be ideal for you to fight against, because they're going to be strong against you. You're going to be weak against them. So what you might want to go with in the case of that is to get up to the stage where you have these. Okay, and now we have only 1 green, 3 blues. Now, if I had the 2 reds here, I got 2 reds up against 3 blues. Now, this one is one I'm going to be weak against, but the other 3 I'm going to be strong against, because, again, we're the red with a force here. Okay, so that's also going to be a determining factor when it comes to figuring out what campaign you can farm regularly as you're going through the game. But again, typically in end game, once you have some champions that are strong enough, you want 1 champion in particular. You'd probably have to run with 2 initially, but eventually you get down to 1 who is strong enough, has good enough gear, and you're just farming, leveling up other champions. Either one's like with Tyrell here, where I said him, he's going to be for end game for me. These 2 are just food to feed to other champions to make them stronger. Okay, but anyway, point being, as far as that, is that eventually you want to be able to level up 3 champions that you're using as food or for end game, and only 1 champion that's already maxed out, because at this level 60 here, she can't go any higher. She's at 6 stars, she's at level 60, cannot go any higher. So with her, she doesn't have anything to gain by running through this herself personally. I'm going to get the coins, going to get the experience for these champions, but she's just taking up a space just so that I can farm with these champions, because you always do want to have at least 1 champion that does have gear on them. If you don't, you're going to have to farm a campaign that's going to be such a low level, you're just not going to get that much experience. So you always want at least 1, if not 2, depending on where you're at in the game. Okay, and now, like I talked about earlier, as far as the gear on these champions, I'm going to show you hers real quick. And like I said, she's healing herself in each round, actually in each turn that she has, and it's because of this gear right here. You see, it's called Immortal gear. Now, this is gear that you don't get through the campaigns themselves. This is stuff that you get through fighting the clan boss, and that's another topic that we're going to cover another time, but just wanted to show you this real quick. So right here I have a 2 artifacts per set with a hit points of 15%, and then this is where she's healing herself. Heals by 3% every turn. So for every 2 artifacts of this type, the Immortal, that you have on your champion, you're going to be healing by 3%. These things do stack. So you notice I have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of gear. So that means that I'm getting healed by 6% of my hit points every single turn. Now, since she's a healer, that's great, because she has a lot of hit points. As you'll see here, the total stat she has is 19,000 base, but plus 40,000 as far as her bonus. So she's going to be healing for 6% of this total here. All right, so if you go to the total and you see your total stats, her total right here is 59,000, a little over 59,000. So she's going to be healing herself for a lot. And you get other bonuses here as well from the Great Hall, Arena, Tier Masteries, things like that. That's other things that if you're not familiar with yet, you're going to see in other tutorials. So be sure to check those out, and you'll get guides on that as well. But basically what this boils down to right now is she has her skill where she's healing herself with Spectacular Sweep. Attacks all enemies, heals all allies by 15% of this champion's max hit points. That's another great thing about her, is with me giving her extra hit points, it makes her heal herself as well as all of the other champions more, which is great. Okay, so I want as much hit points on her as possible to heal stronger. Of course, when I'm farming, this doesn't really matter too much because those other champions, unless it's champions that I'm going to keep for late game and I'm just bringing up their levels, otherwise they're going to die real quick. But so that's why Tyrell does last a little bit, but otherwise the other champions are going to die pretty quickly. Okay, now I'm going to show you what this multi-battle does. So I started to do this earlier. I'm going to take these 3 off. Okay, and this is a fairly new feature at this point. Really, really nifty feature though. Okay, so let's say I got my Painkeeper. I want to leave these slots open. The only champions I want in here are the ones that I'm going to be farming with, so the ones that aren't going to change. So say if I needed 2, I plug those 2 into this slot and then go to multi-battle with, again, right now I only need her. So going to go to multi-battle with just her in this. Okay, you've chosen a champion without an aura skill. It always lets you know about that, which is really nice if you put somebody in the wrong slot, or to let you know. Okay, and then multi-battle settings, we got a few different options here, and I'm going to show you why it is that we only have Painkeeper in here in just a bit. So like it says, it lets you run the same stage multiple times in a row. This is for, again, once you get to the point where you're farming a campaign to try to level up other champions. Once you're done, you keep all the rewards. So it's the same as running through it manually. The only difference is that you don't have to worry about it. You can set this to auto farm and then just put your phone down or just walk away from your computer, and it's going to take care of the job for you. Now, first one here is continue multi-battle even when all champions hit max level. This is for if for whatever reason you don't have any champions you want to level up, you just want the extra coins, just want the money, then this is an option that you would choose. I don't want this because this one here means that whoever's in the queue, once they hit their max, it's going to keep farming with them. I don't want that. I want to level up champions. I want to make my other champion stronger in the process. So for the sake of argument, we're going to say that that's most likely what you're going to want as well, so we're not going to check that one. Next one, continue multi-battle even if you lose a battle. This one is iffy. This is one where you really have to use your better judgment. Okay, if this one is checked off, what this means is that, say you're going through one of these campaigns and you die halfway through, you're not going to get as much experience, you're not going to get any reward other than some coins near the end, you're not going to get whatever other kind of equipment you could get from that, or shards, or whatever else have you. Okay, so with that said, if you're going through this and you do want to farm a campaign stage, and you think most of the time you do tend to make it through it on auto, but every once in a rare while you don't, but there's enough experience to be had in it and you tend to win it enough that you think it's worthwhile, you can check this off to continue the multi-battle. So say if you lose 1 in every 5 or 6 times on the auto farm, then that's all right. That's not too bad. So you can continue it. So even if you do lose, it's going to automatically go over again. If you have this unchecked, what this means is that if you lose a battle, it stops. It stops the multi-battle right then and there, so that you don't waste any more energy on a battle that you could potentially lose again. So this is, again, one of those ones where you want to use your better judgment of, do I feel confident enough in the auto farm that they're going to be able to run through this most of the time successfully? If they do lose it every once in a while, am I willing to lose that energy by checking this off? So with me, I don't need to worry about that because she never loses in this. Now, the last one here is another one that is very iffy. This says automatically restore energy. Okay, now let me clarify. When this says automatically restore energy, if I check this, this is not energy that I have saved up already that it is going to use. Okay, so let's say I have the playtime rewards here and I have the 60-minute reward for the energy. It will not use this energy. Now, I'm not going to make any guarantees they won't change this later on. They might, but at this point in time, with the way it works, it will not use this. What it's going to do is use the energy from the shop here with my gems. Okay, so once I run out of energy, what it's going to do is it's going to automatically buy this full energy with 40 gems. Okay, now it's up to you if you're fine with using your gems on energy. You want to get some champions up really, really quick for the arena or for clan boss, and you're really anxious to get them up there. you can use this. I do every once in a rare while. I don't use it very often unless I have somebody that I want to level up really, really quickly, and I don't have any of the energy in my inbox up here, which I have a lot of goodies in this right now. I actually have 300 energy. I have 2 full bottles, things like that. So we'll get into energy in another tutorial. But point being, if you do choose that one when it comes to farming this, it will use your gems to refill you. So that is another one that, is going to be up to your discretion of, are you willing or want to use gems to auto farm, or do you want to forego that so that once you run out of energy, it just stops? So with me, I don't want to automatically restore it. Another really nifty tool here, automatically sell artifacts and accessories of these ranks. Okay, now with me, I have it selling all of these because in this campaign, I don't use any of the artifacts, which is your equipment that you wear. Okay, so what this is going to do is no matter what level this is, it sells all. Now you could make it where, say if you are farming a campaign where you wouldn't mind the 4 and 5s, but you definitely don't want anything that's say 2 or 3. Okay, what I can do is check off whatever I want to say, okay, I'm going to sell 1, 2, and 3 stars, but I'm not going to automatically sell the 4 and 5. They would end up getting stored in my inventory if I were to get any of those types of drops. Now with me, I want to sell all of them because again, on this one here, I do not need any of this equipment. Okay, now before I get into the queue, I'm going to show you one more thing. Number of battles here. Now this I have set at my max. If you say you don't want to use all of your energy up, or you only want to run through a few of them to do, say, some test runs or whatever have you, you can actually change this number to however many you want. I want my max. I want 40. I know I'm going to run out of energy before that, but I just leave it at the max. I don't have to think about it. All right. Now edit queue. This is where what comes into play is what I was talking about leaving these slots open for the champions you want to level up as food. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go to edit queue, and it's not just about food. Another option as well is for champions like this that I want to max out. Okay, he's got his 6 stars. I want to get him up to 60. He's only at 51 right now. So my queue is basically up to 20 like it says. Once it hits the max level, next champion in the queue takes their place in the battle. He is my top priority right now because I want to get him to 60, so he is number 1 in my queue. Okay, now this is one of the other champions that I'm leveling up to use as food, so I want to get her up to 40 so I can bring her up to 5 stars and feed her to somebody who's a 5-star. Okay, and then in order to bring her level up, I'm going to need 4 stars like she is. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I got 1 more. So I don't have enough to justify farming for another 4-star. This one has a check mark on her because she is in the training right now, so she's leveling up that way. We'll get into that in another tutorial. Okay, this is the other champion that I was leveling up. You can see he's at level 18 right now. He has 3 stars, so he's not capped. Gonna want to level him up. Okay, and then I got 3 more. Great, and then another 1, 2, and then I'm leveling this champion up, who is a 2-star. So I don't quite have enough of the 3 stars yet. All right, now those are the champions that I'm focusing on at this point. Okay, now right now I already have Painkeeper, so it's going to be 3 slots. 1, 2 slot, 3 slot. This champion here I was leveling up in training separately. That's why he's up there too. But what's going to happen in this queue, since I have 3 open slots, it's going to take the first 3 in the queue. So you got Tyrell, this champion here, number 3 champion. It's going to keep putting them through the queue and keep farming with them until it maxes their levels out. Once it maxes his level, then it's going to go to number 4 in the queue. If it maxes out number 3's first, going to go to the next in the queue, so on and so forth. So you can actually pick a few more here. See, I obviously have a lot of 2 stars, so I could go ahead and pick a handful of them. Sometimes what people will do, and this is usually what I have a habit of doing, you see there's a lot of these 2 stars that look the same. A lot of people will pick the champions that look the same and level them up, because then once you're using them for food, it's easier to keep track of what you have as food and what you don't, where you don't have to worry about, oops, I forgot to lock some champion in my inventory or in the vault, and now I just use them as food. This helps make it a little bit easier to sort out. I would never use this champion. He's always going to be food for me. He's an uncommon. I don't need uncommons at this point in the game with where I'm at on my main account. So, not worried about him. He is food. So, for me personally, this guy's another uncommon, so I tend to use him for food as well. Alright, and then, okay, so right now I got all my champions that I'm going to farm with. I'm going to go to confirm. Okay, and then start multi-battle. Now, I'm going to have this playing while I finish up this tutorial here. And so, like I said, what's going to happen with this now is it's going to go on auto already. I'm just going to show you multi-battles. Battles complete 1 out of 40. Now, it's not going to necessarily go up to the 40 unless you have enough energy to do that, or if you have it set to the automatic refill. Okay, so it's going to go through all the rounds. It's going to keep fighting until it caps off all the champions in the queue. I have it set to ×2 so that it goes faster here. I always want it ×2. ×1 is just going to be a slower battle. Look at how slow they move. No, thank you. I'm farming. I want this to be quick. Okay. Again, I got it on auto because right now I'm farming. We'll get into other strategies in other videos as far as specific strategies in here when you have to do it manually. But for now, it's just on auto. And then the info, it has no buffs, no buffs. This one's dead, this one's dead. Like I said, most champions, when you're farming, if they don't have gear on them, they're going to die. He does have gear because, again, I'm leveling him up to keep him. So that's a different story. And then this gives the enemy team, and who's on the enemy. He just got a decrease attack from Tyrell. So it shows you what's going on over here. Okay, they're all dead. Now, the new champions. Okay. And you don't need to pay attention to this. This is just things that I show you. When you're doing the auto farming, you're not going to be paying attention. You're going to set this to auto farm. You're going to walk away and just let it do its thing. That's the joy of the multi-battles, is that you don't have to pay attention. The reason I wanted to show you this, though, is to just show you how it functions. Okay, so once these champions are dead, it's going to give me the option to turn off multi-battle if I want to. Okay, right now it's already on multi-battle. It's going to go through all this regardless, just like it would through any stage. Once you start a stage, you really can't quit it. I mean, you could if you wanted to. You can go to pause. You can go to leave battle. So say if for whatever reason you're in a rush somewhere, you really need to get off, the game for whatever reason, you can go to leave battle, but you're going to lose everything that you had started receiving in here. You're going to lose your coins, lose your experience. You're going to miss out on all that. So we don't want to leave this battle. We want to finish this one up. Okay, and you notice she keeps healing herself. She keeps healing him. He has some gear on him too that's healing, and that's why every time it hits his turn meter and his turn, see, green aura around him, just like the green aura around her. So they keep healing themselves every time it goes to their turn. And now see, turn off multi-battle. I could turn this off if I wanted to, but I don't want to do that right now. I want them to go through it again. I'm going to let it go through one more time while I talk about a few other things here. Okay, now that's pretty much the basics as far as the auto farm. Once you do get comfortable with your champions, you know what level, or what stage I should say, you can auto farm without your champion dying. Then you can set this like this and just walk away from it. Initially you're probably going to have to do manual battles to get to where you want to be as far as your champions and your equipment, because it's going to be a combination of getting a champion up there to either the level 50 or level 60, and then on top of that, getting them some decent equipment. And if you have a really, really good healer, maybe you don't need the greatest equipment. I mean, the equipment on her isn't ideal. If I had my way, I would have had another immortal set on her. You saw that she only had 2 of the immortal sets, and then the other one was, I believe it's a cruel set, which just gives her a little bit more damage towards the enemy. But hit points does as well on her heal, since her heal is hit points based as well as attack based, so it scales from both of them. Now, after this one, I'm going to go ahead and shut this off, just show you the whole point of leveling up, and this is going to tie into another tutorial as far as what you're doing as far as farming to level champions up. Okay, we're going to go into the tavern and show you how all of that works. So There's a few different ways to level up champions, but ultimately what you want to do is you want to get the champion up to the maximum level for the stars that they are at, and then you want to upgrade their rank if you need to, or if they are at the same rank of the champion that you want to level up, then you just feed them to that particular champion. Champions always need to be at the max level for their particular rank in order to get upgraded, so that's one thing you have to keep in mind too. So these guys are almost about done here, so we can go over to the tavern and show you what else I'm talking about. And they are good. All right, now I want to turn off multi-battle. Sure you want to stop? Yes, I do. Okay, I'm not going to lose anything that way. It just stops the auto battle. Shows me how much silver I earned, just 2 battles. Shows me how much energy. So it gives me all the statistics. Now, if I was on the auto refill, it would also show me how many gems I used to keep refilling myself. Okay, now, one disadvantage that I can tell you when it comes to the multi-battle compared to you manually doing it is that it could potentially waste some energy on a champion that doesn't really need to get capped. Like, let's say this champion right here, they're 2 stars. 2 stars means the maximum they can go up to is 20. Now, let's say if he was at 19 and he just had a little sliver here. I got total XP earned. Okay, this is from 2 different battles, so, I'm not going to take that into consideration. Let's say, like, with each one, it's going to be like 31. But let's say if I knew each battle, each champion's earning about 10,500, which is about what they earn in this particular stage. All right, and he only needs 2,000 more. Okay, if he goes through this multi-battle with that, it's going to cap them off. I don't have to pay attention to them getting capped off, but at the same time, it's also going to waste some energy on a champion to cap them off, when if I do it manually, I could actually not waste that energy on topping a champion off to their max level for that particular rank. Okay, and the way that I could do that is, to show you an example here. I don't think I'll be able to top, I might be able to top him off. All right, so let's say if he was a sliver away from level 20, okay, and I don't want to do the campaign with him if he's only a sliver away. If it's on the multi-battle, I'm not going to notice because it's going to go through automatically, but this is just for an example, I would not feed a 4-star to a 2-star. Actually, the only food that I ever typically use is usually just the 1-stars, because they are the absolute lowest. They're decent to use to cap somebody off, or if you're just in a rush, you don't want to have to go through the campaign and you want to level up a champion quickly, you can feed them a handful of these, especially if you got a lot of shards to get rid of. Okay, so now let's say, again, just to give an example here, if he was a sliver away from getting to the top, okay, so like at 5,700, he needs 10,000. He'd only need about 4,000 more, so it would be an overkill for me to go through the campaign with him at this point. So at this point, what I could do is say, grab some of these champions here, and see that brings them up, and then do upgrade. Okay, so this is again in the tavern, we're upgrading. That would cap him off so that I wouldn't have to farm with him anymore. And then what I could do at that point, let me take these out because I don't want to do that, is go to upgrade rank. Now, again, that's going to be in another tutorial for another time. It's pretty simple and clear cut. Once one of these champions does hit that max level, which for him, again, since he's 2 stars, it'd be level 20, then I would go to upgrade rank. And then at that point, bring him up to the next stage. Now, say if I'm feeding him to somebody, like say this woman, like I said, I'm using her as food right now. Okay, now let's say I was using her as somebody I wanted to upgrade. Okay, so I would want to get her up to level 40, and then I would want to make sure to have 4 stars to feed to her, because for every level that you go up, you got 1, 2, 3, 4 that you would need for her, since she's 4 stars. Okay, so that's just one of those things to keep in mind as far as champion leveling. That's pretty clear cut, but again, we'll get into that in another tutorial when it comes to leveling up champions, the quickest way to do it, some other little tips and tricks. But generally, overall, for the most part, you're going to be leveling up the champions through the campaign levels, as obviously as high a level as you can get with either 1 or 2 champions with gear, and then other champions without gear. And then, other than that, just like I said, to cap some of the champions off, what you would do is come into the tavern here to top them off. Like say with her, she's already at the max level, so it says she's at the maximum level for her rank. I'd have to upgrade the champion's rank to make her stronger. Okay, now she's at level 50. They can go up to a maximum of 60. So Right now I only have 2 to feed her, and this is actually my next game plan, is to get her up to 60. I need 3 more champions to be able to get her up to 60, because at level 50 you need 5. So I got 2 right now. I'd need 3 more, so regretfully that is not an option right now. Then they did add in these turkeys up here too to feed people. What the turkeys do is that makes it so that it's the equivalent of a champion that would level them up. Okay, so let's say I only had this 1 5-star, but I had 4 5-star turkeys up here. They would appear over here as my food, and I could actually feed them to the champion to upgrade their rank, instead of having to have the other champions to level up the rank. Okay, so again, that kind of thing that we'll get into another tutorial. I think that's about it as far as the campaign. There isn't anything else that I could think of as far as covering that. I think you're pretty good as far as that. So, again, just to cover the basics, you want to go to as high a level as you can here. You'll have to go through each one of these, finish normal up to the stage 12, I should say, chapter 12, stage 7 to clear out the boss, to be able to get up to hard and then up to brutal. So you want to farm this with as high of a level as possible, and it's going to take time. You're not going to be able to farm right off the bat. Initially off the bat, you're going to need your champions that are the strongest with gear just to get through these levels. But another thing as well here to keep in mind, actually one thing that I haven't covered yet, is the rewards for this. Okay, now when I'm going through normal, you notice down here it has these stars. It says 252 out of 252. Okay, now what that is that's rewards for going through the campaign and getting the star ratings. Now star ratings are based off of 3 different things, which is why there's 3 stars. First star is to beat the stage. Okay, all that means is all I have to do is win, and I'm going to get 1 star to this. So obviously if I'm on the next stage, I already have 1 star. It's guaranteed, because that means I beat the level. Now this one here is 2 stars, beat the stage with no losses. Okay, so this means that if I have these 2 champions here, or if I have 4, however many I have, I need to have all of my champions survive in order to get 2 stars. Okay, the third one, obviously the most difficult, which is why it's the third. You have to have 2 or fewer champions in the particular stage with no losses, just like with the second star. Okay, so with this one here, this is why on this particular campaign I have these 2 champions, because I already got the 3 stars. I earned that, and that's why all 3 of them are highlighted, and did it with these 2. Okay, so eventually you want to be able to get your champion strong enough to where you can get the 3 stars all the way through an entire difficulty level. So you can see on normal here, I have 3 stars on every single one, all the way up to chapter 12. So I got all of the rewards here. First one was coins. Got 100,000 coins. Next thing was gems. This is brews. And then the last one was a void shard. Now, brews are another nice thing that, again, not going to get too into it in this tutorial, but since we are talking about the campaign and leveling up champions, I'll show you really quickly. Okay, now let's see this one right here. I got a green. Say if I wanted to level her up really quickly and I didn't want to have to worry about the campaign, I just want to get her up as fast as possible to use in the campaign. You have these things up here called brews. Okay, so we got 3 blue, 24 green, 16 red, and then this one here is the void, which is kind of a purplish violet. You got 5 there. Okay, now with her, she's green. So if I want to use brews, ideally I would want to use the green brews, which are at the very top here. Okay, so they're just underneath where the champions are. You're only going to find it in the tavern. If you go to your champion list at the bottom, you're not going to see it, just the tavern. Okay. Now, if I click on one of these, see there's no experience here. It just shows her overall experience out of how much she needs to level up. I click on a brew, which ideally, if it wants to respond, there we go. Okay, clicked on the brew. So it shows 1 of these slots filled. You can do a maximum of 6 at a time. XP, 18,750. It shows how much it's going to bring her level up. So if I did enough of these, you see now she went up to level 34. And then if I add some more here, it's going to go up to level 35 and level 36 next. So yes, I could fill this all up with 6 of these brews at the same time. and then get her up to level 37, okay? Right now she's at 32. So brews save you time of having to farm the campaign in order to level up champions. So it's kind of a shortcut. They do come in really handy. I personally try to conserve those to points where I really, really need them in a rush for a particular event or for a particular champion that I want to level up really fast to replace another champion in, say, clan boss or arena, which is endgame content. You'll be able to do it pretty early into the game, but it gets more important later on for getting better gear and earning points for events and things like that. But anyway, point being here, just wanted to cover what the brews were since it is in this normal one. The shards, you should know what void shards are by now, and the shards in general. If not, then definitely look at the tutorial as far as shards. And then just to show you a difference here on Brutal, I don't have everything finished yet. I could do most of these chapters. I don't know if I could do chapter 12 on stage 7 yet with 2 champions and keep both of them alive. I might be able to. I haven't done it yet. I have other priorities right now. So you see on this one here, it's only 1 star. I'm missing these 2 because I haven't completed that yet. On each of these, you have 1 star. Some are 2 stars. And then it shows the overall right now. This one here only have 1 star, 1 star, 1 star. Okay, none of these are at 2 stars, certainly none at 3 stars yet. Okay, so all that I have out of this Brutal is 93 stars out of 135 for the first reward. Okay, and so what that means here is that once I get that 135, I'm gonna get some extra rewards here. So anyway, point being, actually at 105 I'm going to get the coins, 120 going to get the gems, and then at the 135 I get this chest, and then it's going to go up to part 4 of 5. So then there's another whole set of these with new rewards and new star ratings. So you can see on normal it's going to be part 5 of 5. So there was 5 different stages of these rewards to get up to until I got up to the 252, which gave me the final reward. So each one has these little incremental rewards you get along the way of going up to the most difficult one. This one here was a sacred shard, which is really sweet, best shard that you can get in the game. That's for epics and legendaries, which are typically the most powerful. And then this one here, 93 out of 135. I still got 2 more parts to go, so quite a ways to go until I get to that 252, but all that I need to do is just have a champion where what I usually tell people to do as far as trying to do these is go to the last stage, and like once you've cleared all this and you can go up to stage 7, start on this one first. Because if I started from the beginning and worked my way up, sure, I could do this one with 3 stars all the way through, this one with 3 stars all the way through. I get some coins, I get some gems, get some brews. Sure, that's nice. But actually, this one here isn't brews. This is a banner, which is another piece of equipment. So that's something we'll get into in an equipment tutorial. So again, stay tuned for that. But for now, we're not going to get into equipment. And again, equipment is same as artifacts, same thing. Some people call it equipment, some people call it artifacts. In the game, it's called artifacts. Okay, so you got a banner times 1 that you'd get from that. All right. Now, if I started from the beginning, yeah, sure, I could get some more of these rewards. I could work my way up. But the problem is that if I'm not going to be able to finish it, I just don't even want to put the time into it yet. If the rewards are good enough and you want to earn some rewards, sure, but my suggestion is try to go to the very last chapter, stage 7, try to clear this one and get 3 stars. If you can get 3 stars on this one, great. Then go ahead and start at the beginning and work your way all the way up to it. Or you can go through the most difficult one and then work your way back. But that way you'll know, am I going to be able to get through all these? Am I going to be able to get the final reward? If not, maybe hold off on it. But if you need the brews, if you need a banner, you need some gems, it's something you can do along the way. So anyway, I think I've covered just about everything that we can cover, which is just directly related to the campaign here. So if there is anything in particular that I didn't cover that you're curious about, definitely let me know. And just since we didn't touch on this yet, I already told you on the main screen where you can see the bonus XP in this. Now, with this one here, you see the XP is lit up yellow. This one here is lit up this, I guess, an orangish kind of color. And so I get both of those. It shows that that they're both active. This is a week and 5 days. This one here, 16 hours, 51 minutes. So I know going into these campaigns and into the stages, I'm getting these bonuses. Now I'm just going to hop on to another account here real quick just to show you the difference. This is an alternate account of mine. Okay, this one doesn't have either of them. So you see on this one, they're both grayed out. Okay, I don't have either one. So it says XP boost, gets an XP boost. If I want to get it, I have to go to get, or go to the shop, or some other way to be able to get the bonuses. Raid pass, again, I need to go to the shop in order to activate that subscription to get these. So if it's gray, you're not getting it. It's going to be the same when you go to the campaign window as well. Okay, so you see right here, it shows both of them. Both of them are grayed out. So not going to get the bonuses on those. This one again here, this is my other account. Got both of them lit up, so I'm good to go. Good to get the bonuses. And as far as the subscription, it's up to you. It doesn't cost a whole lot. Personally, I think it's worth it. It saves me time. I enjoy the game, so I like to invest into it. Putting some money into the game means more money into the company's pockets, which means more development and more content for us. So it's something that saves me some time, helps out the company, so I don't mind doing it. The bonus XP boosts, I usually get that from either earning the weeklies, or sometimes I'll buy them in game. You can get extra XPs from the shop as far as buying it where I showed you in the gem shop here, or in the bank. Both of those are an option. A lot of times, this one here, you can buy that big package. Actually, I should say the packs here, not in the bank, but in the packs, excuse me, is where you're going to find the extra XP. And this does give you some other things too, though. So it gives you extra energy times 60, so it's going to give you 60 points of energy. Going to give you 500,000 of silver and 300 of gems. So it gives you more than just energy here. Sometimes you want to keep an eye out for the limited special time offers. A lot of times you'll get better deals in here than you will in the packs itself. If you're in a rush, by all means, go for the pack, go for the gem shop if you have enough gems. But always be sure to check out these limited time specials as well, because these, let's see, I got 350 energy here, plus some really nice artifacts, some gems, some silver. That one, $19, so it's probably a better deal than if I bought the energy over there. Epic Ascension pack. So this gives me some tombs, some potions. Potions are another way to make champions more powerful, but we're not talking about anything other than what's related to the campaign as far as making champions more powerful, so we're not going to get into that now. So yeah, I think that covers about everything as far as the campaign. Nothing else I can think of. Again, if there's anything in particular that you can think of that I didn't cover here, definitely let me know. Only other thing, probably should have covered this earlier on, but as far as your energy, this right here shows you how much energy you have left. So I have 16 out of 124 to farm with, and if I want to get more, I can actually just click on this plus, restore it, times 1, give me full energy. So I could always top myself off that way if I wanted to get more energy too, so I don't necessarily need to go to the shop or anything like that. That's just a quick way to do it. This is arena tokens, so that's unrelated. This shows me my overall coins, this shows me my gems. So anyway, one other thing that I will touch on in here too as far as the rewards. I know I already mentioned the coins. Coins are always a given. Even if you end up dying on a stage, you should get some type of coins. You're going to get shards sometimes. Sometimes you're going to get artifacts. Okay, as far as the artifacts, it shows you in this one I'm going to get 3 to 5 stars and a 4-set 10% bonus heal, so you know what type of set you're getting to. The curing, and that's going to be for all of these stages. All of them are curing. Why you got the little symbol here on the equipment. Okay, and then you can also get champions, and then right here, this is a banner. Okay, you can win a random banner as a reward. Now, banners are hard to come by. That's something that you typically only get in the dungeons, which is something that's a little bit harder to farm. That's something we're going to cover in another topic. So if you're not familiar with dungeons yet, be sure to check out the tutorial on that. It'll get you started right on those too. But these you very, very rarely see in here. I've only gotten them a handful of times on this account. I've been playing with this account now for a few months, so don't see them very often. More often than not, you're going to get artifacts. Sometimes you get shards, always get the coins. You get champions here and there. Maybe, I don't know, maybe 1 in every 10 runs or so, I'll get a champion. And that's not bad, because that's food to level up my other champions. So even if it's one that you're not going to use yourself, it's always good to get them as food. So that's not a bad thing. Okay, and yeah, that is pretty much about it as far as I can think of here. One other thing that I am going to cover that I haven't touched on yet. And you see these artifacts, and I told you before, for each stage it has a specific type of artifact that you can get. And then with these ones here, I'll get 3 to 5 stars for the gloves here, or I'll get 3 to 5 stars with the chest piece. Okay, with stage 7, just has this symbol. So you might be wondering at this point, well, what kind of artifact do I get from this? Okay, which is a great question. All right, as far as this one here, you can get any type of artifact. You can get the weapon, helmet, shield, gloves, any of those from stage 7, and this applies to any of the chapters. Okay, you can get any of those types. The one nice thing about that is you're still going to get 3 to 5 stars in this. Okay, so it's going to be somewhere in between that. The nice thing about that is with these these stages, I should say, when you run through these ones, you're going to get typically uncommons, commons. I think you can get rares on it, but it's very, very rare that you will actually get a rare artifact with these. On this stage here, you'll tend to get rares more often, which is more valuable gear. So you're going to get the same star ratings that you would up here as far as a typical drop, but you get gear that is worth more. So even though I'm selling these, if I was farming and I wanted to get the maximum value of coins, I would actually farm stage 7. So I'm going to get the most valuable equipment there. Okay, and this is also something you have to keep in mind too. Say if you want the retaliation gear here, so I'm going to go to the Chapter 10, Godfrey's Crossing. This gives me retaliation, 25% chance to counterattack when hit. Okay, we're not covering the artifacts, not covering set bonuses in this tutorial, but just to give an example here, and you can check out the sets in another tutorial and find out what that's about. But let's say if I want to bring up my overall gear for a particular champion that I have retaliation on, okay? Now, say if I have mediocre gear for the weapon, helmet, there isn't anything in particular that I really desperately need a better piece for, but I want to farm this campaign, I want to try to get some better gear for retaliation. What I would do is I would go to stage 7, farm stage 7, because again, there's a much better chance of you getting an uncommon, a rare. I believe you can get epics in this as well. You don't see them very often, but I'm pretty sure I can get epics in this as well. And so you can get much stronger gear from this stage 7 than you would compared to these ones where you're mostly going to get common and uncommon gear. Okay, now if you want a particular one, you know, say if you desperately need a helmet, then, you know, yeah, farm this one first. But once you get a better helmet for yourself and then you still want an upgrade, get something even better than that, farm stage 7. That is going to get you the rarest equipment. Okay, and as far as the equipment, just going to touch on that really quick too, since we are covering on the basics. So as far as what I was talking about common, uncommon, rare gear, okay, I don't have any commons on these champions, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up to show you. I don't think, actually, I'm not going to have any of them in my inventory either. Oh, actually, I do. I stand corrected. Okay, so I got a common here. All right, so it's gray. What it means is that when you first have this gear, it doesn't have any extra bonus stats until you start leveling up. This is plus 12. So again, we'll get into artifacts in another tutorial. So if you want to know about these artifacts, know about what to do with leveling up, what's worth leveling up, what isn't, you know, definitely check out that tutorial on artifacts. But for this one for now, you're going to be looking at, okay, no extra bonuses. This one here, this is a rare, which is blue. Green is uncommon. Uncommon's going to start out with 1 extra. Okay, right from the start. So you know when you're upgrading this, it's going to give you an extra bonus to crit rate until a certain level, and then you're going to get a new bonus stat at level 8, another bonus stat at level 12. When you cap, which is the maximum level at level 16, going to give you 1 more bonus stat. So you're going to finish with 4 stats altogether, but if you want to start out with a stat and get a little extra out of them, you want to go for an uncommon. If you want even better, start out with a rare. Rare is going to give you 2 bonus stats to start out with, and then of course with an epic you're going to get 3 bonuses, and then you got legendaries, which I don't have. I think I may only have 1 legendary at this point. I'm not even sure what. Yep, okay, so I got the legendary here on Inithway. if you want to check him out, I'm definitely going to have a spotlight for him one of these days and a guide for him. He is an amazing champion that's actually really new at this point in the game since this new patch. Now, Legendary is the best. With Legendary, right off the bat, you get 4 stats. Okay, this isn't a good example, so it's already at level 12, but when this first started out, it already had 4 different stats on it. So I know right off the bat which stats I'm getting. Okay, now later, this right now isn't going to be too important to you if you're just starting out with this game, but eventually stats are going to be very, very important as far as what you're choosing regarding priorities. Okay, and depending on whether you want to use this champion for arena or clan boss or farming the campaign or even farming a dungeon, you're going to want to do different stats. And so with that said, you know, this does become very important, knowing what you're going to get in advance on a particular champion. Like, say, with this champion in particular, I love attack. So with this one, where it starts out with attack 14%, that is delicious. I absolutely want that on this champion, okay? And if it wasn't an epic, I wouldn't know what it was starting with, so I want to be sure. This one only has attack 21, but my gear on this account is still a little bit limited, so I got to go with what I could get. But anyway, just wanted to show you that really quick. And I think that about covers everything as far as the basics with the campaign. So you understand how the campaign works. You understand the rewards you get from it now. You understand what you're getting from it as far as the artifacts, what the different artifacts mean. You understand each chapter and what type of artifacts you get from each chapter. You know that every single chapter goes from stage 1 to stage 6. And then you got the boss fights, which are going to be the hardest. And yeah, I think that covers just about everything here. So again, if you do have any questions, anything that I didn't cover as far as the campaigns in particular, just let me know. I could always add another campaign tutorial number 2 in here, cover it for you, or I might even answer your question directly in the comments here. So yeah, just let me know. Otherwise, I think that should about cover it as far as the campaign. It'll get you started right and get you farming as efficiently as possible. So yeah, I hope it helped you. If it did, definitely, you know, give me some feedback here. Let me know. I always appreciate feedback. And yeah, any other comments or questions you have, feel free to leave it in the comments below. And yeah, good luck to you guys, and stay tuned for the other tutorials. We'll be covering the other stuff here as far as the tavern and leveling up the champions, the artifacts, other things that we only kind of skimmed over in this one in other tutorials. So yeah, that's about it for this one though. So yeah, appreciate you guys' time. Good luck, and yeah, stay tuned. Hi guys, this is Anthony here, also known on this channel as AscendantGod. I wanted to thank you for checking out my channel here. Really appreciate it. Be sure to check out the other videos. I got plenty of goodies on here. Also check out the description sections in the videos. Got plenty of links on there for all different kinds of goodies that I think would be worthwhile for you guys. If there is something in particular that you don't see on my channel that you want to see, be sure to let me know in the comment section as well. And I think that's about it. All I've got. I'm just going to get back to this thing here. I'm pretty sure if I just...
Oh, we have such sights to show you.
Wow. That's really funny. Same here.